Hi everyone. So I haven't done a video in a while. I have been trying to navigate this administration, take in everything that's happening, and also deal with everything going on in the world. But I feel like I have to be missing something here. Because Israel broke the ceasefire with Gaza yesterday. And 400 plus people were killed. And I have a very low bar when it comes to President Trump and his administration. So when I didn't see a press release, announcement, anything from the White House yesterday, it wasn't shocking. Disappointing for sure, but not shocking. But surely he would say something about it on social media. I don't think he does anything else. Like, Truth Social, like it's his job, because I don't think he realizes it's not. And nothing. Plenty of things about his call with Putin and then today Zelensky, which that is also very important. Everything to do with the Russia-Ukraine war, also very important, but not the point I'm trying to make. He can mention corrupt Obama-appointed judges. He can mention how apparently the Biden administration is the sole reason why a couple astronauts were stranded in space. He can share countless things that promote his rhetoric and hasn't said a single thing about what's going on in Gaza. So today there was the White House press briefing, and I thought, okay, if I can't find anything from the White House, I can't find anything from Trump, I'm sure that the press secretary isn't going to mention anything without being prompted. Surely someone from the media will ask something. Ask if Trump condemns Israel breaking the ceasefire, or asks about the reports that we were told about it and supported the decision. So I don't know if they corralled all of these reporters beforehand and told them not to mention it, or if they just don't care. But no one mentioned it. They asked for clarification on a summary about the Russian and Ukraine calls multiple times. They asked about TikTok. They asked about Tesla. They asked about many other things, but no one could be bothered to ask what the thoughts were that Israel broke their ceasefire during Ramadan, no less, and have murdered 400, mostly women and children, and you don't see coverage of it. I don't think that he cares. I never really thought that he cared. That's not the surprising part. But they don't even pretend. And I knew that when I heard the news yesterday, I knew that if I turned on an American mainstream media network, I probably wouldn't see anything either. So I ended up turning on the live feed that Al Jazeera has running on their YouTube channel. They have their network streaming on their channel. And I seem to remember that there used to be a time where we actually had that as a channel on network, on cable. And I was shocked to learn that it either isn't available for anyone anymore or just not in my area. I don't know, but that's somewhat irrelevant. They have it live online. But you see those images. Children. The children are especially heartbreaking, but everyone who has been murdered, they have family, they are someone to someone. And Israel now says that any more ceasefire talks will happen under fire, and that this is not an isolated incident. And this is not supposed to be necessarily a critique of Israel and Netanyahu. I have very strong opinions on that, and those haven't changed. The reason that I decided to make this video now is because I just finished watching the press briefing. I don't know when I'll upload this, but when I'm recording it, I finished the press briefing maybe 15 minutes ago. And then I went on Truth Social and the White House to see, okay, have I missed something? Has there been anything? There's been plenty, just not any response to this. So I decided to come out to my car and make a video. This needs to be talked about. Obviously, Trump's base and MAGA and Republicans in general at this point, I don't know if you can change their minds, and I'm not trying to change their minds because I think that that is a waste of my time. But the Democrats aren't doing anything about it. There are some exceptions. There are people who are trying, but as a group, as a party, nothing is happening. And that's not right, because there are so many things, but if we can't condemn what Israel is doing, and really what Russia is doing in Ukraine as well, which is an entirely different conversation to have, because the narrative there has been so spun that, again, a different video. But if we can't condemn a genocide that's taking place out in the open in front of everyone, when most other countries on the planet are willing to call it out for what it is and condemn it. And not only do we not condemn it, we support it. And again, I don't have anything to back this up because no statements in either direction have been made, but the reports are that the US was told about it and gave them the green light, or said go ahead, supported the decision to how are there people that don't see we're headed in the wrong direction? And not just headed in the wrong direction, we're like full-on sprinting in the wrong direction. And we're going to go straight off a cliff. And for anyone here in the US who says, oh, well, that's happening over there. If you can sit at home and bury your head in the sand and say, that's their problem, they brought it on themselves, which they didn't. But whatever excuses you're making to make yourself feel better, if you really think that couldn't happen here, you need to go look in the mirror. If you think that what's happening there wouldn't happen here. Some absolute lunatic lawmaker in Minnesota is trying to make Trump derangement syndrome an official mental illness. And I don't think that that's going to get anywhere, and I don't think it's going to be a thing. But the fact that somebody's trying to say, oh, well, if you're this upset with Trump, you are mentally unstable, you're mentally ill, that's one step away from being, we need to institutionalize you. You can't do X, Y, and Z because you don't have the mental capacity. None of Joe Biden's anything with a signature is valid because he didn't have the mental capacity, and it was written with AutoPen. We've been hearing that the last few days. So if you don't think that by being complicit here, if you don't think that's a problem, you need to wake up. Because if this isn't stopped and this administration isn't checked, eventually we're going down the slippery slope of eventually anyone who disagrees with him is going to be not valid for some reason. Seriously, though. What Israel is doing is genocide. Netanyahu and all of his co-conspirators need to be held accountable for war crimes. Anyway, I've waited a day and a half at this point, hoping that the leader of the free world, most powerful man on the planet, thinking that there would at least be a statement. Even a statement saying that we were in support of Israel's decision, which would be the only kind of statement I would expect to see, honestly, and that hurts. Even that, I think, would be better than the fact that they're just ignoring it and pretending it didn't happen. Or it's not important enough to mention. These people, men, women, children, are dying. And then apparently Israel bombed a UN building in Gaza today. I haven't read up much on that. That was the last sort of headline that I saw before I turned the news off and turned the press briefing on. So, yeah. I have a daughter, and she's young. And I think that when she grows up, if she has children, when they go to school, they will learn about this point in history that we have been going through. And they'll wonder why nobody stood up and did anything. At the very least. And I was talking with family yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised if when we get through everything that's going to happen, if the world can survive it, if my grandchildren exist someday and get to go to school and learn real history someday, they will look back at this time and it will be noted as the very beginning of what is looking like will turn into probably a world war. And I don't say that lightly. But nobody's going to announce, hey, we're going to start a world war. Unless, of course, somebody nuked somebody else. But global wars don't start with an announcement. They start with small little conflicts here and there. Little issues that grow into bigger issues and then drag everyone else into it. Until everyone is involved and they finally say, hey, this is a world war. And I really do think, and I hope that I'm wrong. I cannot tell you how much I hope I'm wrong. But I feel like if I have grandchildren someday, they will learn about this point in history. And it will either be the tipping point or the very beginning. And I hope I'm wrong. So if I'm here in 20 years, I guess I'll update everyone on that. And let everyone know if I was right or not. So yeah, if you're in the US, do something. If you don't want to be an activist and you don't want to go into politics and you don't want to be the face of this movement to change things, that's fine. But talk to the people that you know. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to people who bring it up in conversation. And don't just sit by while people spread misinformation or are complicit. Challenge what is being said. I don't know what else to say. So, yeah. Hopefully I'll see you soon.